All right, let's get all of this situated here. We got going live from a new little spot just so that get the TikTokers up here too. Everything rolling nice and fluent here. Why this is a little bit crooked. Whoa, even more crooked now. Okie dokie. So we got our YouTube, we got our TikTok all hooked up here, and we're ready to go, folks. So, as promised, I said I'd be back, and now we're back. The only thing is this mic's a little finicky. She keeps turning on its side, but there we go. Anyways, let's get her going here. Obviously, we are back for a nice little afternoon session here, and for you guys sending your emails in, I love it. A bunch of people have been asking some awesome questions, so happy that we got to start to get through those emails and get everything done for people reaching out, which I think is awesome. Get you free guidance while you can. Still waiting for everything to process for the back end of things. And oh, I forgot. Let me pull up the chats on here. I like looking at them through the computer a lot more, but okay. Ooh, I forgot my computer charger. That sucks, but we should be good enough here, my opinion. Okay, we got all our stuff pulled up. So, good afternoon. Get the live chat, not just the top ones. Jennifer, what's poppin'? Seen you in here before. Like this. Looks like we got some good connections so far. And waiting for some of the OGs to pop in here. But how we doing, everybody? Got a nice little Thursday. Actually, some pretty. I got two cameras now, so it's kind of hard to show you guys around. But we got some decent weather today. It's a little bit chilly, I will say, but nice and sunny, which is nice. It's always good having some exposure to the light out there. Helps the day not drag along as much, but certainly. Is there permanent? I don't know what that means. Permanent? No clue what you mean, Tammy. Is there permanent? No clue. To be honest with you. But okay. They're lagging a little bit for me here, but let's try to refresh. All right, there we go. These were a little bit slow there. We had some technical difficulties. I hate when technology's not doing its thing, but look at that. We didn't even get into some good stuff yet, and you guys are already liking it up and following. So, ooh, best course of action for sciatic pain. At least, if you're trying to look at for more at-home things, I would look up pelvic blocking and pelvic blocking paired with foam rolling paired with inversion tables. Just those three things alone, you should do very well. Plus, like prone press ups, that you don't need to buy anything. See, like Lane, How did "Hey, I Know You" get filtered out? How does that make sense? But hello, Lane. How we doing? We got two phones nowadays. Call me. Is it Two Chains that says I got two phones? One for the Bloods, one for the hoe. But, anyways, um, I know you too, Lane. Either way, did I miss anything in there? I thought I was answering something. Yeah, the sciatic nerve pain thing. You can try to avoid bending, twisting, lifting all at the same time. That is definitely something you want to avoid. But I think the inversion table, the daily foam rolling, and looking up the pelvic blocking piece is a little bit harder to know because you have to know what type of pelvic torsion you have. So, what side's going back, what side's going forward, and only then can you really know how to self block underneath you. But it's essentially like foam blocks that you set up underneath your pelvis that take all that pressure off. At the very most simple setup that there is to lay face down, so belly down, and have both of those blocks go right onto the hips here. So that tilts the pelvis back and creates a gap between L5 and S1, and then you get a nice decompressive type of force there. So, great question though. And there's plenty you can do at home. If it still persists and it's really bugging you, go to a chiropractor, go to a massage therapist, go to a PT, um, somebody that can lead you in that direction. But there's things you can do at home. Okay, is C. diff hard to cure? In terms of getting the environment back to normal, that one is a little bit of a stickler because it does depend on the overall environment in that GI. So, how inflamed you are, how much the immune response is occurring, how weak it is, how strong it is, how the barriers are functioning, because there was that environment led to a C. diff infection to take over. So, when you're doing things like a Genova test, you can have an add-on there for C. diff, and I would want somebody doing that in the beginning, and then somebody doing that probably 3, 4 months later, just to relook at that and see what has changed. So, very good question there. Sorry for the earthquakes. I'll stick to looking at the comments here. But yeah, in terms of you definitely want to lean towards your digestive bitters. You want to lean towards acidifying the stomach. Great things to be doing there. And obviously, you want to get some beneficial bacteria in there too. So the fiber source things, avoiding a lot of the inflammatory stuff, which I mention a hell of a lot on here. Um, but actually, let me pull some of these up here. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. But Lane, with the rough night of sleep, oh, we doing slept rough last night. So woke up at 1, then woke up at 3, then woke up at 5. Oh boy, it's never fun. My doc wants me to take pregnenolone, but I'm nervous because I don't know what to expect. I mean, yeah, that one, it's okay to run its course. You could definitely, start doing some of that and see good change there. But yeah, I mean, I would want to make sure that hormones were tested in the first place because there can be a simple stress issue or some conversion issue taking place, and now that's where all that hormones being stolen from, and that's going to stress hormones, cortisol, things like that. So, am I against that? Not really. It's just okay. Well, what testing was done, and then what are we doing to get those stressors down that are depleting pregnenolone? Because mental stress alone will completely steal from that. So, oh, Lane, do I miss Appleton? I do miss my good friends over there. Too many good times. Um, it's kind of crazy because it like hasn't hit me yet that we're fully rolling out a clinic here, but as the days go by and we start spending all this money on the clinic, it starts becoming more of a reality. But answer wisely. Oh, you're in here. Oh my goodness. No, I do miss Wisconsin prices. I miss Wisconsin cheese. I've mentioned this before on here. Um, and yeah, it was a damn cool clinic to be a part of. So that that sucks. Um, but once we get some things rolling, I'll be buying some tickets and headed up there as soon as I can because I'm itching. I'm itching to be back in those walls. It was a good time, I will say. It kind of sucks of not being there, but can't do anything great without other great people. That goes for anything. That's funny though. Nami's wife, pregnenolone was 2.5 ng, progesterone 0.31 ng. That's why she wanted me on it. Okay, well, those are the only two things tested for because there's still 9 different estrogens and their metabolites that can be looked at, and your androgens as well. Um, but yeah, if pregnenolone is that low, then I can see their reasoning for wanting to do that. But if you just start flooding hormone into the system and that's not being converted properly, and there's a huge mental stress component or an adrenal issue, now all of that hormone that you just took in is going to convert down into cortisol or now into the estrogens and start being oxidized in different ways. So it's, you want to get a Dutch done to look at that, see where all that hormone's going. Let me see. We got why YouTube's being weird. What's going on with YouTube here? Anyways, I'm scared to take the pregnenolone because I'm scared the other hormones will take it. That's pretty much what will happen if enough testing wasn't completed and there's not a known the conversion steps of where that hormone's going to go. So probably user error. Okay, Lane. I'm using a new device here, so we're seeing, at least for me on here, it doesn't seem to be screwing up in the live chat, but I think we're good. But on YouTube there, 439 subscribers. So seeing if we can hit 500. I would like to hit it this week. That would be awesome. And for the TikTokers, let's get this count to 1,000, baby. Let's get up to 1,000. Like it up, share it up. We definitely can get there because every time I go live, it's like 10 new people. Oh shit, banging stuff over here, but then we got some trickling into the YouTube chats too. But that's why I like having a second device now because we can knock two birds out with one stone and show YouTube what's up. I'm trying to get to the point where YouTube can be as active and fun and crazy as TikTok is. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there, but it might be user error. That is also something to consider. But man, I don't know. This freaking live is bugging out on me over on the app there. All right. This is crazy, but someone said to check for MTHFR gene. I don't even know what that is. I mean, that's something to consider. And pretty much all that tells you is what B vitamin to take, which you should be taking an activated form of B vitamins anyways, or a methylated form of them. I don't care who you are. I wouldn't want you to be taking non-methylated forms. I was prescribed spironolactone for hirsutism, but worried to take it. What's your thoughts on it? Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you whether or not you should or shouldn't take it, but reasons for excess hair growth there totally linked with high androgens. So that would be worth looking at too. And if you're having, issues with whether it be with the cycle or having delayed ovulation and things, you can be having some androgen dominance taking place. Maybe something like PCOS is occurring, and now we need some conversion of those androgens, which does depend on some mental stress components as well as some sugar regulation there too. So, but anyways, yes, I love this from Kayla Rivera. Checks serum homocysteine. Beautiful, beautiful thing to be doing because that pretty much gives you insight to things like methylation. So I love that marker. And there's plenty you can do there. You don't have to do, a methylated B vitamin. It's just a really affordable way to tackle it. But there's some other things like astragalus can even help with some of that stuff going on too. But yeah, the back to the Hirschsprung thing though, that is a hormonal issue, which is typically created by some nervous system and immune system links there. So I don't know why this is having so much trouble. Okay. Where are we at here? Hella lagging. Is this lagging for you guys over on TikTok? Let me know. It's starting to piss me off. I hate when there's freaking issues like that. No lagging. Okay, cool. Just my slow ass computer then. Sweet. Sweet. Anyways, where were we? Lane, but I'm assuming I would have had issues a lot sooner if it was that gene. I mean, yeah, genes change when the environment changes. So as long as you start to regulate the inflammatory stressors and keeping stress down and getting the body back to normal, those gene expressions will change over time. Sanria, glad you came back. Which flavor of the protein powder do I like the best? Definitely the chocolate. That's one of my favorites. I thought that the cinnamon roll one would take the crown, but I don't know. It just doesn't hit the same as the chocolate one does. I think Lane has tried the chocolate one as well. So she can be a Lane trying to vouch for me. Honestly, I need as minimal distractions as possible right now. So, yes. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. And you guys, you can send me messages on here too. I'm basically building out all lists of guidelines for people, showing them where to get any supplementation from, building them food structure guidelines as well as lifestyle things and future lab testing that they can do, or if they already have labs, I will look over those too. But yeah, in kind of prep for getting this office rolling, I'm opening a practice in New Jersey through the Wellness Way. But in preparation for that, I am basically giving away as much value as possible for the people on here. So consider yourselves lucky. But yeah, send me a DM. I'll give you my email. No lag. It's good. Perfect. So, not worth it, I think. Actually, Andy would have said something. True. We've come to Marek Health. People trying to, what, self promo their shit here. Labs would show high androgens aren't converting. Thanks. I mean, yeah, you would want to get blood and urine. So you'd want to do blood hormonal testing, looking at testosterone, DHT, a lot of the estrogens that you can get tested through blood too, which you can't do them all through blood, but you can get at least the main ones there. And then the conversion steps with that too, and their metabolites, you want to get a Dutch test ran. So, but send me a message. I'll show you how to get all those. And yeah, or if you hear the dogs barking on there, they're going crazy. There has got to be some issue with YouTube here. And I don't know why. Couldn't tell you. Okay. Man, I thought it was something more serious. Yeah, I mean, people overblow the methylation thing. I think it's kind of crazy. It's important, but do you need a $600 to $800 test to tell you that? No, no, you don't. I have neck pain affecting my shoulder and arm the past few months. Hurts when I try to move it. Um, Yeah, there can be some nerve irritation at the base of the neck too. So things like a roll, things like a prolordotic exercise band, both of those things help right at the base of the neck. One you lay on, two is more of a active motion that you take your body through or your head through by taking that prolordotic band, pressing that thing forward, and then guiding the head front and back so that you can promote more of that cervical curve there and start to relieve some of that nerve root irritation, which is really common, and it definitely spreads into the shoulder and things. Um, I still like seeing people do certain stretches and things where you can anchor one arm into the chair and take, through different points on the head, stretch that depending on what side's tighter, and then obviously go into a chiropractor, go into a massage therapist, things like that. So there's plenty you can do. And that's connected there. Um, is it safe to cook with butter if you're dealing with IBS? I like seeing people try and do some non-dairy things for a while just to pull that away because you'll probably see some benefit from taking that out and doing things like beef tallow. Coconut oil is another safe one, but like, are you really going to cook with that? Unless it's a dessert, I don't see anybody cooking with that. You can do things like avocado oil, that's definitely a safer one. But yeah, I would try and lessen the butter right now. So if you want to get that butter type of flavor, do something like ghee. Ghee's a really good higher smoking point thing that you can do. Just got a bunch of grass fed and finished steak. Oh, isn't that the best? That's amazing. Oh, good stuff though. Wait, almost time to decorate for Christmas. Yeah, we already got some decorations up where I'm at. So getting her going. But guys, my YouTube is lagging so hard. This second device is taking a crap on me. I know I'm getting sidetracked, but hello, Laura. Welcome back. How we doing? Heck yeah, Lane. Pretty exciting. We definitely got a lot of work to do though. But one day at a time. One day at a time. That's really all you can do, right? So let's switch this to all. Boom. Anyways, me too. Me too, though. The wind's going crazy here today, by the way. Just gonna do this to monitor that. Talking to myself here. Anyways, what are you guys up to? Let me start asking you guys some questions. Do friends and family give you a hard time living the healthier lifestyle? Because yours does. I mean, in the beginning more so, but now that because they're kind of living with um, basically like a Hitler almost with me here. So we are constantly making changes to things that enter enter the house with other family and friends and things. But in the beginning, sure, as time goes on and you just start inching baby steps and people start to feel better, then they're like, oh crap, maybe there is something to what he's saying here. So once they start seeing the changes, that's when people start following things. Um, but not everybody, people make decisions based on emotion. They don't they don't make logical decisions. So you haven't noticed. But anyways, 78 there. Holy crap. That sounds amazing. It is not 78 here at all. It's like, let me see if this changes anything. This YouTube page is freaking loading or not loading, and it's driving me crazy, guys. Can't figure it out. Maybe I gotta do personal hotspot next time or some shit, but this is freaking ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, what else? But yeah, good question though, Anthony. In the beginning it was, but now we got some molding to form, and two with me constantly being on people, it's like there's no forgetting. There's no chance to forget. But I just think in some hippie, you don't understand. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, this is voodoo. This is like witchcraft. But once you start to see the results, now it's like, okay, there's something to it here. When it's like, wait, my seasonal allergies aren't seasonal. This is just me being inflamed. Or my pain, my back pain, my neck pain, shoulder pain, this is just part of being inflamed. And if I make these little adjustments throughout, now you start to change all these things. So, unpopular opinion. We won't cook too bad or too aggressive today. Take it nice and easy. But I do have to fix the second stream. This is driving me crazy. People are on the YouTube chat. Let me know if this is super laggy or if you can even understand that. Let me just type to them. There we go. Okay. Cook like the Australian painter? Who is that? Usually I'm caught up on things like this. Oh, wait, I missed Lane's thing. I'm not a fan of melatonin. It makes me feel hungover the next day. You need to keep going. You do need to keep going though, because that will stop and start to regulate once you get enough of that extremely powerful antioxidant in the system. If you're taking it, that's why you said I'm taking it like 6. So in that case, you're doing things at the right time. It's just a matter of powering through. Keep going until you can get that. Even after 2 weeks, heck yeah. It's one of the most powerful antioxidants. So we gotta type in the chat. Why not? Fine. I mean, yeah, it's amazing for you. So I would encourage you to keep going as much as possible. Either way, I'm going to knocks me out 30 minutes after I take it, and then toss and turn all night. Yeah, and you're getting those like wake ups in the middle of the night, so you can, I'd be looking at the list you have and what has some GABA production in there so that you can stay asleep longer and not be running into that issue. But yes, when you're starting something like melatonin, that's going to be an issue, especially if you have a lot of oxidative stressors still occurring inside the body, then totally. Especially if you're seeing gray hair form really quick or wrinkle patterns and just early physical signs of it. But the mustache man is the answer. I have to look. I probably know Austrian And I will get to your second question in a second. Arms. Stream painter. It's gonna be a good joke. Oh my goodness. We got Myron Gaines in the chat. And somebody on YouTube responded. So Creeper, you've been on here before. Is the YouTube stream lagging like crazy or is it good? I need to know because on my end it looks like it is a train wreck and it's like completely derailed my mindset here. Myron and Nick are the goat. They are. They are. But Creeper, let me know over here on YouTube. It's perfectly fine. Oh my goodness. I'm worried about nothing. Okay. Well, let me give you guys my full attention because not gonna lie, I've been totally sidetracked this whole time trying to fix this stupid freaking lag, but it is just the issue with the computer here. Um, I'm actually just gonna close that out. Anyways, so I'm going to get to Lost in Space. I'm going to get to your question right after I get through arms. So, hi, what do you recommend for depression, anxiety type things? So, this is a environmental issue with the GI, but it's okay to be doing some things in the short term to get you through this. So, send me a DM on here. I will get you discounts where we can. But I would want you to start doing something like California poppy and kava combined, those two combined, because you're going to have neurological effects and effects on the adrenals as well, and just helping get rid of a lot of one, the stress hormonal things that happen, things like cortisol, but then the very excitatory neurotransmitters that you can calm down and metabolize throughout the body too, and even promote serotonin and dopamine and GABA and all these happy-go-lucky neurotransmitters that your brain loves, and that those are supposed to be liquid herbs. So they have very, very quick effects on the central nervous system and the adrenals there too. But send me a message on TikTok. For any of the YouTubers, I put my email in there. Um, there's less trolls that I have to worry about on YouTube, but I just don't give everybody my email. But yeah, for the people reaching out, I will write you up even how to customize certain foods toward magnesium rich foods, even potassium rich foods on there too, because those can calm things down neurologically. Also, doing getting a lot of the inflammatory foods out of the diet because that's going to completely derail brain chemistry there too. So, the gluten, the dairy sources, a lot of soy processed things, corn, processed sugars, the food dyes, the seed oils, all those things, even getting fermented foods into the system too, so that you can pour into the beneficial commensal bacteria there that produce and create all of your neurotransmitters. So, no charge associated with what I'm talking about here. I'm giving out as much free stuff as possible until this office is rolling in a couple months. So, snag your free guidance while you can. We're going to build the healthiest community online here. I'm determined. Okay. And then I do have a few grays. I pluck them out. But yeah, you got that's oxidation taking place. So we can get that pigment back, and chaga is also extremely high in antioxidant factors there too. Probably one of the highest things, aside from things like melatonin and turmeric, or taking glutathione alone. But lost in space. Let's go back. I want to start a program to sleep better, magnesium, exercise, etc. So I did a whole hour on sleep itself. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We did two lectured lives, or I don't know, educational things on YouTube and Rumble. I posted the whole stream there. I do them live and then repost them after. And I've been clipping it up and doing things like that. But if you want to see the full video, it is the same exact name on TikTok, but over on YouTube. So for the YouTube people, you're already one step ahead. If not, I'll just personalize everything for you too. So send me a message on here. I'll just tell you exactly what to do after we converse a little bit too, either through emails or hop on a phone call and see what we can do. But there's definitely things that we can approach from a natural point of view and just make sure you're getting good sources of these things too. But, anyways, I do like things like magnesium. There's some better things we could do there though with valerian, even things like passion flower, things like, I mean, kava being one of them, California poppy I mentioned a lot on here too. But the point is to work off of supplementation. It is not to be on supplements for the rest of your life. Let me be very clear. These are short term use to rebuild certain aspects of the body depending on what's going on. And then it's really the food and the lifestyle pieces that hold everything together. And then you supplement for what you're not getting from a food or lifestyle change. So, whoa, Lane, throw in the heat. It's 1968. This thing's like 4 years old. Okay, it's not a Mac though, which I don't like. So I'll be getting a Mac pretty soon here though. Solid duo it is. If you're talking about the Xiaogan melatonin, I noticed a slight detox reaction from the albizia and chamomile. Is that common? Yeah, if you're um, starting to push things through the system and you have, whether it be a skin issue or starting to get a lot of poop going, let me know though in either the comments, depending on how comfortable you are sharing things. But yeah, that, oh no, I'm messing with my mic. That can be a piece. And they're strong, potent herbs that you're using there. So things like albizia and chamomile, great stuff. It's just know that it's going to be pushing the system. Um, and if that, it's starting to bug you a little bit too much, just dial back on dosing. So I'd cut it in half and see what changes. So I miss chocolate milk so much. I know, right? You could still put like cacao powder in um, some type of nut milk or sheep or goat, depending on if you're allergic to that. I think that they're just better, smaller particle sizes than dairy is typically. I figured since inflammation's going down, the body's able to eliminate toxicity better. Also very true because now there's less that the immune response is trying to deal with. So now your body has a chance to start getting rid of these things. And sometimes that's through the skin. You might smell a little bit more. So maybe having some more BO, bad breath, pooping a bunch. Those are all good signs though. So, but yeah, if it's kind of getting too much to handle, you can just dial back on some of the dosing there. Oh my goodness. Why did this? You have so many comments. Okay. Mm-mm. We got the chocolate milk, covered that one. And then what natural things good for depression? I mean, it's a matter of rebuilding the system. But like I said, the kava, the California poppy are good places to start. But really, it comes from getting the GI to be regulated again and healthy. So you have to restore the GI there. And that's going to be heavily influenced by food practices, strengthening that mucosal barrier, starting to go after the intestinal permeability, which is extremely common in a lot of people, and then getting your commensal bacteria up and any opportunistic bacteria or fungus or parasitic issues down. So, and it sounds simple when I say it in a few sentences, but it is not that simple. So, it's going to depend on each person. What do I specialize in? Health restoration, Jamie. Health restoration. All natural stuff here. No, no medications, no surgery. Nothing wrong with those things. I'm just saying. It's not personally what I do. Why are so many things being filtered? Let's approve all these. Okay. Does melatonin have long-term side effects? Melatonin, no. No. That's a naturally occurring hormone inside your body. It's very powerful, but if your body has enough, you're just gonna pee these things out. So that's the cool part about doing natural things. But yeah, if you're looking at Dr. Google, then it's going to say you have 2 weeks to live and blah, blah, blah. Anthony, I get headaches and slowed motility. I wonder where the fiber's at. I want you to increase that a bunch, and even the fermented foods there too, which do slip up. I get it. They're not the most tasteful things ever, but just quick little corrections you can do there. Not the same. I forget what that was about. Is that a chicken in the background? That is little Luca, who does not shut up whenever a sound is made in the house. So you'll hear him featured in a lot of these lives for the time being. But he's a fun little guy. Can't blame him. Small dog, so you know how they are. ND, I have difficulty sleeping. Sometimes I don't sleep at all. Would you recommend? I mean, leaning the food structure toward magnesium and potassium rich foods. So you can do things like cherries, things like pistachios, walnuts, and avocados, beet greens. Those would be like foods I would focus on if you are looking to snack on some things, especially toward the end of the day. Those are great things to be doing for food instances. Obviously, removing inflammatory foods out of there. It's like I'm gonna sound like a broken record saying that. And then making sure that you're figuring out, okay, well, why, what aspects of sleep do we have to support? Because if it's an issue with GABA, then we have to do different supportive means, more like valerian, more like passion flower, things like that. If it's more of a, melatonin production, screen times, we should definitely be working on those. I think, getting morning sunlight into your eyes is one of the most cost effective ways that you can combat a disrupted sleep cycle. So there's that. But, safe zones, turning toward a lot of those foods that I listed off there, plus melatonin, very budget friendly, and probably doing like, I would say valerian's another great one to just pair alongside that and just get a ton of GABA flooded into the system and just start to regulate these things until we get a good circadian rhythm and have that pattern occurring. If it's really disruptive, you can get a liquid melatonin and do very small dosing during the day, and that will help um, regulate things back. But if you need more of like that written out for you, send me a message. I'll tell you where to get everything and what to do and give away value for free here. Chicken in the background. Jamie, estrogen dominance. Any suggestions? Nut allergies? Ooh. Okay, we just gotta help the liver convert things down. I would want to probe some questions about gut health here too, because if you cannot eliminate toxicity through the GI, that will even affect estrogens recirculating. So that would be another curiosity that I have there. But things like Sasandra, things like dandelion root, I've mentioned both those a ton on here. Um, but again, these have to be liquid herbs. They have to be formulated properly. And that's for purity, concentration, potency, and all that. Um, be watching out with how many nuts and seeds and things you are doing. I know you said you have a nut allergy in general, but a lot of seed based things are going to have a lot of phytoestrogens in there too. A lot of soy products definitely don't want to be doing that. If you are vegan or vegetarian, we gotta talk things through here because yeah, we're gonna have some continuing problems. But I would say those first few steps. Let me know about the GI stuff. If you don't want to share it on here, send me a message and I will basically create a plan for you there. Trying to get my neighbor to see you guys for her diverticulitis. Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of people with that, and they do very well, especially when you start finding all these triggers for them. Because if the immune system is or immune response is constantly reacting to inflammatory triggers, guys, all the supplements in the world are going to help until you stop taking them. And that's the mindset, especially online, is just constantly like a bug inside everybody's head. It's like, okay, I have this. What's the magic thing I take for that? That's not how it works. If that was the way it worked, I mean, you could Google all this stuff and find your answers, but the immune and nervous system override all the other systems. I need you to understand that because if you can regulate those two things, all the other systems start to go back to normal. So pretty cool. But yeah, she definitely needs some food testing and the GI test there too. If it's a girl, I don't know. But anyone ever told you that your face would be perfect for a boo? Oh no. I don't know what that is. You guys are weird sometimes. I'm sure you're ready to start already. Heck yeah. Definitely. Oh, we got Patrick Mady. What's up, my guy? How we doing, brother? I don't know if you're still chilling in here, but how we doing? Interesting, she says. Anthony says, thank you, you're very welcome. Passing by. Hi there, great hair, man. Have a fantastic day. Randy, nice to see you again, buddy. Meds for anxiety, anger, irritability, or fatigue. ASD, ADHD, POTS, and HEDS. So the way I look at this thing is with all those things, all those conditions tell you to do is what meds to take. They don't tell you how to get back to normal. They don't tell you how to get healthy again. So again, figuring out the immune triggers, figuring out the nervous system triggers is how you get your body back because your body's meant to heal itself and it will if you can provide the right environment for it. And how you start to calm these things down, California poppy, kava, maybe even ashwagandha in there too, if a lot of that's going on, because it sounds like, especially with POTS going on, there's one, autoimmune reactions, or an autoimmune expressive immune response. Ashwagandha been shown to help with that a bunch in terms of regulating T cell function, even vitamin D2 or D3 with K2. Um, I'll probably do some Albizia in there too, and probably potassium. So kind of a long list in there to begin, but I'd be curious as to what food practices look like, what you've already tried, what you're currently looking for. But if you only want meds, I'm not your guy. That is not what I do. I'm going to have a completely different perspective because I've seen people with all those things and it's different for every single person. There's not a protocol for these things in my view or in the natural health view. And there will be people on here on TikTok saying, you have this condition and you take this, that's all you got to do. Uh-uh. I mean, I will be the first to tell you, which usually pisses people off, but all right, just a little mic check. But yes, send me a message. I'll write you up a whole little plan. We'll talk about what's going on and what we got to do. I'm taking kava twice a day, like around 5 and 9. If you mean 5 and 9 p.m., I love that. Um, the only caution with kava is taking excessive amounts because then it will be kind of stimulatory in certain aspects there. Still, very relaxing, very calming, very a good feeling that you get from kava, and definitely helping with more depressive type of feelings there. Am I against that? No, not at all. I've had people do 4, 5, 6 teaspoons a day of that stuff. So you're more than okay doing two a day. Thank you. You're very welcome. Oh my goodness. Wait, let me. TikTok scrolls me to the bottom. I'm sorry. Um, Lane, don't read that. What? Oh, she was talking about the other message earlier. Thanks for looking out for me, Lane. Your comment was pretty far down, so I didn't see it until now. J May, thanks. Yes, my labs low progesterone, high estrogen. Docs take SLYND. Dot dot dot. No. Yeah, kind of crazy to even blow your mind even further. Estrogen is not a hormone. So I don't know where they're getting that from. unless they combined estradiol, and estrone and combine them on a lab, which is really dumb because it doesn't show which estrogens we're having an issue with. And your body, again, your body's doing this for a reason. Your body's adapting and creating estrogen dominance because of some immune stressor. And obviously, some mental stressors there too. Um, but yeah, mental and chemical stressors are really what we got to dig into here. And the support is for the liver and helping the liver convert things down. And also, like I said, probing those GI questions there too, because that is a huge place to look for the immune responses and regulating that as we help the liver and adrenals convert these things down and calm the mental stress down. And now your body starts going back to normal the way it's supposed to. Pretty cool. But um, send me a message and then I'll give you my email, Jamie, and then you can send me that whole lab and I'll write you up what to do. Best things to do to help calm down the nervous system. A one time purchase that I like a lot of people doing is an inversion table because something that I give a lot of people to do is to just take a freaking moment during the day to like go outside. And I know it's getting a little cold out, but either going outside, getting on a foam roller, or doing something like an inversion table. And I get it, you can be at work and doing things like that. But on the weekends or when you're coming home, an inversion table, even in the morning and at night, you can take a lot of stress off the cardiovascular system and the adrenals and get full body decompression there too. This is something that I do twice a day, every day. I do a little spinal routine as well for just helping regulate that nervous system signaling there too, with foam rolling and putting basically a neck prolodic device underneath my head there to just get more stress off the nervous system and promote a good cervical curve because that's going to take stress off too, which people don't realize. It's like the body puts the most important things in the middle. That's why your brain, that's why your heart, your spinal cord, all these things are in the middle. So yeah, I mean, that's like the most practical way. Um, but supplementation wise, yes, you have your kava, you have valerian, you have the California poppies. Um, Exercise, another great one, just to get stress hormones out of that system, to use them up, and to take up excess glucose and things, which are very excitatory. And that helps out your pancreas a ton too, because GABA, the most calming neurotransmitter, is converted in the pancreas. And if you're constantly running into food allergies, constantly running into inflammatory triggers and things, you're not going to convert glutamate into GABA. And glutamate, the most excitatory neurotransmitter. So it's like, okay, how do we get more conversion in that GABA? So it's a matter of pulling away the immune stresses. So, anyways, getting long winded, but Jamie, yes, I need this too. Working on somatic work. But man, it's a lot to learn. Oh, yes, it is totally. It is totally a lot to learn. EDS is genetic. I have ARFID, unfortunately, so foods are very hard for me too. Yeah, and there's like doing a food allergy test, you can unlock a heck of a lot. Um, there's also looking into zinc and copper within the body there too will help with some of the expressions of EDS and help them with that elasticity there because usually too much copper in the body, which whether you grew up on a farm or you had certain water qualities growing up, that could be connected to that too. But yeah, if you came out of the womb and had EDS, then I would be like, okay, sure, it's genetic. But if it wasn't present during birth, then it wasn't genetic, which I know is annoying to hear, but I'm not on here to be liked necessarily. I've been on meds and hate them. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. They cause side effects, but I still deal with it 10 years later. I know this is tough. This is tough. But hey, you found us though. You're in a good place now for the odd H book girl. Odd HD book girl. Okay. biggest things you see with the nervous system that is overwhelmed or overstimulated? Honestly, the mood being thrown off. When your mood's thrown off, when you're reaching to that point where it's a high stress scenario, a lot of people will get this kind of midday, especially if you're not consuming anything in the morning, which I don't want people doing. I want you definitely eating enough when the day begins, because even if it's just getting enough protein shakes in, you're going to have great effects on the nervous system, on the adrenals, by getting food and primarily proteins into the system first, and doing that pretty early on. And honestly, the best time to be consuming things like proteins is around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. You'll have the best protein assimilation there, the best breakdown of it, best absorption of it, and then taking all those amino acids and rebuilding them into tissues. That happens in the morning the best way. So, but yeah, what you're really going to see is pain increase, stress hormones increase, mood get completely thrown off, very irritable, things like that. But maybe some constipation or something like that. Those are kind of the biggest ones that I see most commonly. Thoughts on if VO2 max went up by 3 points in a week, and what is that? That is pretty darn cool. Rosita, I have to skip yours and go to Rosita. Why do doctors wear caps while seeing patients now? If you're talking about me wearing a hat, I'm not seeing patients right now. What are you talking about? Go hate on someone else. This is about hope here, my friend. Cheers. This is about hope. We're giving people better lives to live here. Okay, gotta verify little thing. Cool, and we're back. But yeah, if I don't know if VO2 max increased that much, you're really dialing things in, man. And I know you work out a ton too, so you're now seeing those results come through, which I love. And that much of an improvement in a week, that's impressive. That is impressive. You're probably taking a lot of stress off your system, and your body's now just using that to make better and better functionality throughout the whole body there. Favorite things to help the cardiovascular system besides weightlifting, walking, jumping, plyometrics are probably the two best physical. If you're asking for physical things that you can do, I would say plyometrics and things like rebounding are, and sprinting. I would throw sprinting in there too. Those are fantastic. Probably a little trifecta there. So rebounding, it's like a personal mini trampoline. Sprinting, I would even go to say hill sprints, and then plyometric exercises. Those will really challenge the cardiovascular system. And like best things to be taken during that, something like Neo 40, things like cordyceps mushrooms, maybe even something like passion flower too. But I would just maybe start with, cordyceps and see where that takes you. But you're kicking butt, my man. Nick is he's impressive. Oh, I got some emails to check here, folks. You guys are sending them in. Got some work to do for you people tonight. But good stuff. Good stuff. Oh wait, I was trying to conserve my computer battery. Anyways, um, favorite things. Okay, we tackled that one. YouTubers, you guys are quiet over there. We got two of you hanging out in the YouTube chats. Creeper, I don't know if he might still be in here. We haven't seen Rohith come in. We haven't seen Nas come in. The OGs on our little YouTube following. But heck yeah. Well, good stuff. How long have we been going? Almost an hour on the dot. So, all right. I'm getting a little boring for you guys. I'm going to respond to the messages you guys sent in. Again, let me know if you guys are looking for. Oh, hold on. Pause. Back to Nick here. If you could only eat five foods the rest of your life, what would it be? Ooh, wow. Very good question. Definitely beef. Definitely got to have a fermented veggie in there. Something like sauerkraut's probably going to be the best way to go there. I would say blackberries, number three. So then we got a fermented carb, long form chain. We have a protein source in there, and we have a high fiber fruit source in there. I would throw avocados in there, and probably I'm gonna say something like sardines, which is gross, but sardines are like salmon, wild caught fish of any kind, really. Not you know filter feeders, but fish that are swimming, salmon, tuna, things like that. But sardines are just dominant in the omega 3s. So, but yeah, I would say avocados, sauerkraut, blackberries, beef, and some form of clean fish. In terms of, we're not talking like taste here, because my answers would be very different if we were talking taste. But are bananas, etc., healthy? Mainly talking about the sugar content. Yeah, same question goes for honey. So bananas are kind of weird because there's different stages of a banana. So when they're on the unripened side, they're actually pretty darn good there. You're going to have more prebiotic effects, you're going to have less glucose availability, and especially if you are doing that, post activity or something like that, I don't have an issue with it unless you're like a diabetic or something like that. Um, for the honey question, it is lower on the glycemic index, which, funny enough, pure maple syrup is actually a little bit lower in terms of um, glycemic index load, which is pretty crazy because you'd think that would be more, but um, a safer sugar that you can do is like birch bark xylitol. That's a really good, much lower glycemic index and still have some carbohydrate load in there. But yes. Okay, Nick put his five in. So eggs, oh, that's a really good one too. Eggs, that's a really good pick. Beef, sweet potatoes. Ooh, that's a good pick too. Blueberries and kiwi. Nice. That's a nice set of five. I would want to steal your sweet potato one. And I don't know what I would replace it with though, because blackberries and sauerkraut, those are, how can you replace those? But that's a good list. Bella Francesca, hello. I gotta answer your email. I know. I saw it come through during the live. But what do you think about fasting? Ever since I do that, I lost weight. So ever since you started, um, oh, you put your favorite five in there too. It's getting off work. Nice. So ever since I started fasting, I've been losing weight, which I do think that's a good thing. I would just wonder, just question on our terminology here because, true fast is going to be over 72 hours. So if it's not that, then it's more time restricted eating. Am I against time restricted eating? No. I just think the best way that you can do this is by flipping it around from what people typically do. People typically wait to eat in the morning. I would flip that all the way around. I would be doing a high protein meal first thing in the morning, kind of like 7, 8 a.m., and then doing a late lunch and then skipping dinner if you want to do like a 16-8 or whatever. So that would be my move there. But do video games deplete dopamine? Yes, they do. You get that. Anything you get quick gratification, quick pleasure from, even scrolling on your phone or, eating a Twinkie or a lot of things that bring instant gratification or instant pleasure to the brain, you're going to be depleting dopamine. So you want to get dopamine from chasing hard things, not doing easy things to get a quick lift of the brain. So it's a little pro tip there. And then Bella Francesca's top five: cabbage, nice. Team cabbage. What are there? Eggs, salad, banana, honey, chicken, nice. Good list of five there. Oh my goodness, wait. Do, do, do. No problem. Things just getting off of work. Intermittent, nice. Time restriction due to work. Hey, I totally get it. Totally get it. Thoughts on 5,000 vitamin D every day? If you're not getting a lot of sun, somebody your size, somebody your activity, I think that's totally, totally normal there. Yes, I have to. I'm not hungry in the morning. I can't have a heavy breakfast. Okay, so I want to at least do some type of protein shake in the morning. Um, but we'll chat about that for sure. Anthony, dang, no more Call of Duty zombies. I've played my fair share. I will say, I used to love, especially what was the map? Kinder Trotten or whatever. It was on World War something. I'm not sure which one, but it was it was a good time. Me and my friends would just stay up all night in high school and do all that forever. Is taking melatonin as an adolescent healthy? Not on a regular basis, basically just as a one-time thing. Yeah, I think melatonin really comes into play for getting the antioxidant load up, and monitoring how somebody's doing with that. So if you're still waking up in the middle of the night, Lane talked about on here a little bit earlier, and seeing that disrupted sleep pattern or having a circadian rhythm that's completely flipped around, that is like the best use case for melatonin. But please realize that all these blue light screens and the lights on past sunset, that is what's throwing all this off for a lot of people. Plus all the excitatory things that are in our food. So am I against it? No, I think it's good to help get you on track and regulate things. Um, and you're not going to run into any issues there if you're just using this as a way to get back on track. Oh my goodness. Rundin, what type of doc are you? I'm a chiropractor and also a health restoration practitioner for the Wellness Way. So pretty much guiding people on all things to practice with their food, with their lifestyle changes, and where they can't get those changes from. That's when you can use supplementation, and that should all be based on lab testing, so that we know what we're doing and why, and then we know when to retest, and then how to come off of these things and live a normal life and learn how to take care of your own body. So, trying to answer the question, what is health, and get people as healthy as possible. Okay, thanks. What's your thoughts on plant medicines? I love them. That's like the majority of what I study every day. So I do like 2 hours of um, labs and herbal things there too. Ashwagandha, adrenal chill. It's helped me calm down. Beautiful. I have interrupted sleep. I sleep 4 hours and then wake up. Okay, we gotta, and we'll be talking about this too, but we got to start supporting more things to do with GABA and hitting as many GABA receptors as we can. Um, but we'll get into that, talking about valerian and all the things there. Do you still have guilty pleasures from time to time? Oh, I'm a human being. I am a human being, man. We are emotional. We are emotional freaking things. That I'm not robotic. I do kind of have a screw loose in the sense of like, what really matters, and seeing an emotion and going, okay, this is how I feel, but is this really the right thing to follow? Because when you're thinking emotionally, you're not following any logic, and usually poor decisions are made. But yeah, most of our decisions are made on emotional things there, emotional factors. So do I have sugar cravings? Heck yeah, those don't go away until you do. Those do not go away. Um, That's probably like the hardest part is sugar cravings because when you're doing so much work throughout the entire day, as much as possible, um, it's just an easy fuel source for the brain. So, and a very stress relieving activity. I mean, any of you guys have a nice sugary piece of bread or like bread with honey and butter on there, like, oh my goodness, it tastes awesome, right? And immediately you're like, ah, this is great. But doesn't mean we should be doing that every day. Or like I make basically chickpea and rice flour and ferment it, and then I make my own dough and I make my own bread that has all those beneficial fermented bacteria and things. So it's the wheat and a lot of the heavier grains that contain more gluten protein structures. And there's even prolamine charts that you can look up because people think that rice is gluten free, or like, we mentioned rye in here. People think that that's gluten free when it's gliadin free. So it's free from the gluten proteins present in wheat, but it is not free from gluten. That is a point that I want to get across to pretty much everybody. But um, okay, where did I leave off here? But we can discuss later. Okay, I missed this one. Tammy, I sit with ayahuasca. Whoa, in ceremony. Amazing healing. I've never done it, but I'm sure there's something to it. It's beyond what I know about that. Obviously, I'm studying legal plants here. But do go to my rye bread, honey and olive oil. Beautiful. Sourdough must be. I've done paleo for 9 years. Haven't gone off. Holy, that is, you are dedicated, my man. I'm robotic. We're kind of the similar in that way. Kind of have a screw loose, which to your benefit, right? What in my country bloats me? I don't like rice. I rarely eat it. Rice is kind of one of the safer things that you can do. Um, it depends on what country you live in. I'm not too sure. Usually go for whole wheat. Oh no. Oh no. Bella Francesca. I don't know if you're Italian at all, but I am. So you are now too, by default. But yeah, you wanna get away from the wheat, man. You are. Oh my goodness. I mean, your name's Francesca. My middle name's Francesco. So pretty cool. Antonio Francesco Eduardo. How do you know that? What the heck? You must have found me on Facebook or something. Um, but stay tuned, guys. I am finishing up the weight loss live that we will be doing over on YouTube and Rumble. So hello to my YouTubers. That will be done probably this weekend. We'll cover that in great detail. It'll be fun. It'll be eventful. Definitely high intensity talk we'll be doing there. And obviously, I'll be clipping that up into bite sized pieces and spreading it all over the world as much as we can. But look out for that. For the people on here watching that do want the guidance on things, I'm not charging stuff right now. We're just building a healthy community until I get my office open. So we got a couple months before I start charging for things. But um, in that case, send me a message on here if you're on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, I put it in my description for my email there. Um, I will give you guys my email anyways, and then we'll discuss what's going on. We'll discuss what to be doing, what to be eating, what to be doing with your body, and if you need any supplementation, what to be doing there, and how often and all that stuff. But my family gets fresh pastries from Boston, and I refuse every holiday. You're Sicilian, nice. We got look at the Italians in here. We get dogged on a bunch, but we're the best, aren't we? I'm here in New Jersey, so I think I've said that on here before with you guys. But anyways, Laura Bolt's back. What's up? Tiramisu, my favorite homemade. Oh, that's so good. Goodness. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to start tending to the messages and emails that you guys have sent, and then I'm gonna try and do those as intensely as possible so that we can hop back on here again tonight and do a little late night live. So that'll be fun. But one more though, it's taking creatine, even if not actively exercising, bring benefits. It does. It will, especially if you're getting higher amounts of protein in. So say you don't have all the time in the world to work out 5 days a week, but you can get 2 or 3 days in. I still think it's worth doing something like that because there are many benefits, not just for muscle tissue, but also for other organ systems too, even the brain, even helping with some sleep deprivation things there too. So you can head off to the gym and make dinner. Thank you. You're so welcome. We'll be chatting later, folks, but I still think it's worth to be doing if that is something that you're trying to be on a budget and find the right thing. So, all right, this is a good one. It's a UFC question. So, I don't know why it got filtered out. Let me allow this back in. We got one more. This is a UFC question, which I love UFC. I love grappling, love jiu-jitsu. So, um, okay, wait, I missed a few. Gonna head to the gym. Banana, need one every day, and honey, spoonful every day. That's my breakfast. All right, we'll start getting some more protein in there to combat some of the glucose. But I'm at the end of the road. We're gonna help you out, my friend. Send me a DM, and I'll help you out as much as I can. And would you rather? All right, this is the question I was trying to get to. Get knocked out by Tom Aspinall? No, every 3 months. Or choked out by Hamzat every week? That's a really good question. For the people that don't know, um, two great fighters. I love Hamzat the most. It's kind of hard to pronounce his name, but I'd probably go with the Hamzat thing just because um, I don't want to get my head punched off, you know. And Tom Aspinall is probably 100 pounds heavier than me, at least. I'm like 160, 170, somewhere in there. I'm actually going to weigh myself now because of that, but I would say Hamzat every week over every 3 months getting clocked by Aspinall. So I don't even know if he's still in here, but good old UFC fans. All right, guys, I'm going to peace out of here. Try and get back on here tonight. Do it down in the studio there, and we'll rock it out. So good stuff. As always, stay healthy, stay free, and we will be back later tonight. Peace, guys.